did a Trump-hating editor of The Atlantic end up on your Signal chat?
And then somehow it gets
someone
sucked
sent
in.
you that
it gets sucked in. Laura, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but of
Let's watch a Fox News interview with Mike Waltz himself, the man responsible for the infamous Yemen leak, you could say or call it now, or at least his staffers are, right? So be sure to buckle yourselves in for this one and hit the like button. It helps the video, it helps the channel get out there, and let's jump into this ready to debunk the misinformation I'm sure is to come.
A staffer did not put his contact information.
No,
but how did it end up in your
well, that's
phone?
what we're trying to figure out.
Okay, but that's a pretty big problem.
That's what we've got the best technical minds, right?
That's disturbing.
And that's where, I mean, I'm sure everybody out there has had a contact where it was said one person and then a different phone number.
But you've never talked to him before, so how's the number on your phone? I mean, I'm not an expert in any of this, but it's just curious. How's the number on your phone?
Well, if you have somebody else's contact and then somehow it gets
someone
sucked
sent
in,
you that
it gets
contact.
sucked in.
Was there someone else supposed to be on the chat that wasn't on the chat that you thought was on the chat?
So the person that I thought was on there was never on there. It was this
Who
guy.
was that person?
Well, I'm not. Look,
I don't know if him being like 50 years old makes him think that everybody has a boomer's understanding of cell phones, but random numbers don't get sucked into your contacts. That literally makes no sense. And they have all the best tech minds. They have Elon Musk, who is a genius, guys. He's a tech genius who's heading a whole government committee, and yet they can't figure that out. They can't figure out how they mistaked a contact. He was in this group chat for days and none of them realized. That sounds like inefficiency to me. There was no mistaken contact here. This is why he has no one to name as the mistaken contact. These doofuses just don't have an explanation for leaking our sensitive war plans. And they're trying to do anything they can to save face rather than take accountability and fire everybody involved, which is the only right outcome, to be honest.
But they read stuff like, oh, wait, there was a 2023 DOD memo that said you shouldn't use Signal. And yet you hear Ratcliffe today saying, well, it was commonly used. So doesn't there need to be a standard across the board?
Absolutely.
Just don't use any of these apps. But then how do you communicate when you're not in a skiff?
Well, and that's what you heard. That's what you heard Elon talking about, kind of the mess that is government communication.
This is important because the MAGA line right now is, well, they all are saying that Signal was already being used when they came in, so they just didn't know any better, as a way to still kind of try and blame the Biden administration. Go figure, right? So surprising. But there was a DOD, Department of Defense memo under the Biden administration that specifically warned against using Signal for these exact purposes, just adding more proof of the total incompetence from the Trump administration, as they're also just ignoring warnings, probably because, oh, it's the Biden administration that did it, so it's woke. And now, again, with the inspectors generals being fired, there will almost definitely be zero accountability from anyone in the Trump cabinet. Trump, again, has already came out in defense of this, rather just a spin that's going to make them seem the least culpable as possible.
How did a Trump-hating editor of The Atlantic end up on your Signal chat?
You know, Laura, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but of all the people out there, somehow this guy who has lied about the president, who has lied to Gold Star families, lied to their attorneys, and gone to Russia hoax, gone to just all kinds of links to lie and smear the president of the United States, and he's the one that somehow gets on somebody's contact and then gets sucked into this group.
Is someone in your intel? Is someone in your intel team trying to cause trouble here? Because that's the scuttlebutt out there.
Look,
that
we have people. No, look, this is a great group. The president has a great team. This is not first term.
No, your team. I'm not talking about the other.
Here's something that is really important to put in perspective here. MAGA tried to lambast liberals after 2016 for Russia, right? As if it was some wild conspiracy theory that radical leftists were just indulged in, right? Even though Trump did take information from Russia, admitted his son did, and we're now more vindicated in that belief than ever. But they then went on to become the party of conspiracy, doing election conspiracy, the everyone in the media is against Trump conspiracy, now resorting to writing off anything negative as part of some conspiracy, where rather than, again, just taking accountability, which, I mean, it shouldn't be that hard, just fire the people who were involved. He's saying, well, there's a conspiracy and who knows how this happened or how he got at it. And MAGA is Posting the Atlantic owner with Ghislaine Maxwell, even though it has nothing to do with the journalist who broke the story and doesn't discredit the story itself. The White House has already confirmed it's true. So it's not like, oh, you can say, well, it's not like we can believe this source is credible. It's credible in that the story has been confirmed. MAGA has devolved politics so far that they just think a justification for anything, any wrongdoing, or the explanation for like this incompetence or corruption is just character assassination. Like they don't have to explain or justify anything. They can just be like, oh, look, but they're bad too. These are the kind of acts of incompetence that I just hope voters remember coming into the midterms, coming into 2028, because it puts not just our troops' lives on the line, but all of us by virtue of our national security being threatened when we let people, frankly, this stupid, run the country.